Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to layer vinyl. You could also, I guess, call it reverse applique. We have here part of a bag that I've already done. This is Stitch from Lilo & Stitch. Today I'm going to show you how to do the eye. So I've already cut out all these pieces and have done this side here. I've cut the other sections for his right eye. And I have all my different layers. And what I've done is I've taken my panel piece and I've cut out the areas where I'm going to have the different color pieces that I want. So for here, I've done mostly vinyl except for his ear. It's a light baby pink. It kind of keeps throwing the camera color off, but there you can see it. And then tools I use for this are a razor, my snips, scissors, and quilting tape. Stuff is very handy. I use it for almost everything now. So what you do is you grab your pieces that you need. So here's his other ear piece right here. And I've taken my piece on top of it and cut it out to the size I need, plus some, because you're going to have extra for the back side. Okay? So here we have, I've already cut out the eye and his pupil. I did the little part for the white highlight. And I'm going to show you what I do after I've cut it out. You can kind of see the process I've already started here. This side doesn't have any white threads showing. However, this side does. That's because I haven't completed this side yet, so I could show you what it looks like. And the vinyl that I use is marine vinyl. It holds up pretty well. It has this nice woven backing. Gives it some extra body. Durability. So then, once I've cut through, I go back to the other side with my snips. And I kind of cut at an angle, kind of like a picture mat where it's, you know, angled out. And I just go in down towards the bottom and I snip those white threads in, or out, I guess. Okay. You go all the way around. Then when you're done, I'm going to take my quilter's tape and kind of put it around the hole here and put that on top of my white piece. That will be the highlight. And sometimes I just kind of fluff it around just to make sure no pieces are going to show through. And it looks like I have a little bit, so I'll fix that. Okay. Another reason why I use marine vinyl is because it sews like butter. You don't want to get inexpensive vinyl for something like this because it's not going to hold well with wear. You can be a great sewer, but you can have crappy vinyl and it will still not hold up. Okay, so that part's done. Another reason to use snips is for little sections. You can see it's pretty perfect on my cut here. That's because after I've gone through with the razor, I'll go through with my snips and do little itty bitty cuts. You want to make sure that your snips cut all the way to the tip. I had another pair that actually didn't do it and it was really frustrating. So those pair are gone. So now we're going to add our quilting tape. It's a double-sided sticky tape that's meant for sewing and washes away in the washer. Okay. And I'm only going to put it on this side since this side is going to have more exposure through the pupil or for the pupil that I don't really have to have it on this side. If you want to, you can still do that. I'm going to take this off. So the quilting tape that I got was from Amazon. They sell it in 22-yard rolls, either in single or 2-packs, which is really nice. And I will link those, which one I got, in my comments, or the details, I guess. Okay, so there's that. Press, press, press. Take your eye. And see here, I've already written down that it's the right side. That's going to be okay, because when I go back after I'm done stitching around, I'm going to go through and cut it down. So that part will be okay. Then we're going to take the quilter's tape to this side, and again, all the way around. Your edge. Doesn't have to be perfect because you're going to have stitches to hold it down. This is just to help refrain the vinyl from shifting. I have used masking tape or painter's tape before, the blue tape. That worked out pretty okay. The only problem is can't really sew through it, as it will still leave a little bit of the residue left in the thread when you go to rip away the tape. And then also too, what I was doing before was just taping little sections, and every time I would get closer, rip it off. Sew down, rip it off. So I'm very happy that I found the quilter's tape. So keep it going. Come on. Up, up, up. Also, too, another tool that I like to use on the back side of the piece is I'll fray check the thread all the way around. So now, kind of, okay, press, press, press. Just make sure that's in the right spot. Beautimus. Isn't he cute? Okay, now that's good. Now we're gonna stitch all the way around the corner here, or the edge. And what I like to do is use my sewing foot as a guide. So my needle is going to be either to the left or to the right, depending on which preference I want to sew the edge on. And I use that middle hinge on my foot as my guide as to where the edge of the vinyl will be. Put that back on. And with stitching vinyl, you want to make sure that your what am I doing here? That your stitch length is longer. The longer the better, pretty much, for vinyl. So my machine, I'm using a Singer 237 Fashion Mate. My thread length goes from 20 to 6, and I generally, with vinyl, keep it at a 7. And that will help prevent it from getting too perforated, because then it will have a tendency to want to rip because the vinyl has become weaker. So now I'm going to go around, and for the longer edges like this, I will use the pedal on my sewing machine, but when I get towards corners like this, I will hand crank it. Usually for the first stitch though, I will hand crank just to start off. Okay. And you can lift the foot as you go, if that will help you, which I will do when I go towards the corners here, or the curves. Just realize I'm not centered on the camera. So go all the way around. And you can kind of do what I'm doing here with this little piece just to help practice before you get on to bigger and better things. Okay. Woo. Going crazy. Okay. And then when we get towards the beginning of our stitch, we're going to place the needle back towards the middle so we can see. I'm using a regular foot, by the way. I use a regular foot for pretty much anything and everything. Zippers. Other things I can't think of at the moment. So then, when I get towards my last stitch or two, I'll place the needle back into the center. And then I will put the last stitch in the hole of the first stitch. And at the beginning and end of each stitch, you want to have about 4 to 6 inches of thread. That way, when you pull the thread through, you can tie them together. Okay? And then I use my seam ripper actually for this part too, to help pull the top stitching through to the back. Okay, so you kind of tug on your string a little bit, or your thread. Okay, and then pull your top thread to the back, like so. Oops. Come on. Okay. And then tie them together. I don't think it really matters. At least I haven't seen a difference if you tie the back and the front together, back, front, back, front. Just make sure that all the thread is pulled tight. And I'm using Coats and Clark Dual Duty all-purpose 100% polyester thread. Okay, and then I usually do about 3 ties. And then I snip that, I don't know, 1/2 inch. Then when you're done with that, I'll go through with fray check. You don't have to do this part. I just like doing it because I feel like it gives my bag a little extra insurance. Okay, and then we're gonna cut off a little bit of the extra vinyl. We don't want the back of our piece to be too bulky. And down to probably about 3/8 of an inch, quarter will be fine. It doesn't have to be exact. Unless you want it to be exact. Okay, get rid of all your little scraps. Okay, and here we go. There's his eye. Isn't he beautiful? Okay, now we're going to attach it to the face. So I've done the cut here, and then I went back through with my snips around the edge to make sure none of the white thread was showing on the other side. Okay, and we're going to do our quilting tape. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Oops. Okay. Now that he looks like a clown, take all those backings off. Come on. Okay, and then we are going to take, so when I cut out my pieces, I always keep them, again, for when you go to cut your other pieces, you have a gauge as to what size of material you will need. And another reason I do this too is because we lay our piece down, we turn. Somehow I missed a piece on my tape. Okay. We turn this and we use it as a gauge. Gently set it down. Okay, looks like I'm a little off. Oh, come on, tape. Okay, press, press, press. Ta-da! I still think he's a little off. Okay. Maybe I'll just go by my sight. I don't know why I can't align it right now. Usually I'm pretty good. Maybe the angle I'm at is weird with the video. There we go. Okay. Ta-da! Looks kind of off-centered a little bit, only because the stitching, I think, is throwing it off. So, good to go. Okay, so now I gotta change my thread to match the darker blue. So anytime if you have any sharp corners or, you know, hard turns, I try not to start on those because I find it's easier to start somewhere over here than it is to start over here, because I feel like I've had a few problems trying to get the stitching right at the start. Okay, and realign our needle. And then little hand crank, kick it off, and away we go. Sometimes you have thicker areas of vinyl, and I will also use my seam ripper for that to help kind of press it down, because I can get really close to my foot to help guide this in. Come on. Okay, so for here I will help push this down. And you've noticed that I've already done his mouth and his nose and his ear. And if you have something like this where it's kind of like a face, I start with the nose first, because generally on faces, the nose is the one that, you know, sticks out from the face. So with all that layering underneath, that could help create the illusion of a face as well. If I did it the other way, his face would probably, or his nose would probably sink in, and then that would just look weird. So right now, I actually have white, black, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers of vinyl right here, because the nostril here, that piece right here, is the underneath the whole nose. And then right here is where they kind of all overlap a little bit. So vintage machines for the win. Which is also another reason why I'm using it, because all the layering. Come on. What's wrong with my foot here? No, not that foot, my foot. Okay. Okay, raise your foot and pivot. Pivot. And then once again, when I get towards the end, I'm going to move my needle to the middle so I can see. And here it looks like I have 2 stitches left to do. And we want the last one to meet up in our first hole. So we can pull those threads through. Okay. So then, again, extra thread length. Gently pull those through. Come on, I see you. Oh, I'm holding it on the other side. That doesn't help. There we go. Okay. Uh-oh. I've accidentally grabbed the wrong thread. So you'd get a needle, and if I can remember where I have my needles, you would pull that through with the needle, and you would tie that off. I don't know if I have a needle handy. Oh, yes I do. I guess that kind of works out, so you can see how you would do it if you made this mistake. Okay. Take your needle. Another reason why it's good to have a longer thread at the ends. Okay, find the hole. Ta-da! Like it never even happened. Tie, 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 tie. Snip. Fray check. Again, you don't have to do the fray check. That is just my preference. And then trim. Ta-da! And there you have it. A wonderful stitch die. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in the video. I'll answer them. And I have a growing list of tutorials that I would like to do. So you can check them out on the channel. And yeah, thank you guys.